Welcome to a special edition of the Referrals podcast. Introducing our new Daily Dose. We've assembled the ultimate crisis response team for your business. Generous leaders from around the globe teaming up to teach, guide, and lead you through this time of isolation and quarantine. Now let's meet your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey everybody, this is Michael J. Maher with another episode of the Daily Dose of positivity and productivity. Before we even get started, I want you to close your eyes with me, and I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine that you're seeing a world in front of you, and the clouds are pink, green, purple. They're swirling as you look up at the sky. You find out that you're on a road. And you start walking down the road, and all these beautiful clouds are swirling in the air. Pink, green, swirling. Not in a threatening way, just in a friendly way. You're walking down the road. You come to a fork in the road. You pick up the fork. And you look to your left, and there is a gingerbread house, but this is not a gingerbread house like you've ever seen before. This is a gingerbread mansion. You walk up to the door with fork in hand. You decide that you're going to take a little scoop out of the front door with your fork. Before you can even do it, the door opens. A voice inside says, "Come on in." You walk in the door of the gingerbread mansion, and there, of course, is the gingerbread man. The gingerbread man looks different than normal, though. He looks more like Frosty the Snowman than the gingerbread man. And Frosty the Snowman, gingerbread man, is standing there, and he's all white, yet he's got these black buttons on his jacket. And he says, "Take one." And you're like, "Take one?" And the snowman says, "Take one of my buttons." And they look like they're going to taste like black licorice, but you take your fork and you grab one and you put it in your mouth. And it's like the most amazing berry explosion you've ever had. Raspberry, blueberry, strawberry, every berry. It's very, very nice. You have discovered the magic pill. You go out the door ready to tell the world. And you're thinking, I'm going to tell 3 or 4 people. And then you look in front of you, and there are 1,000 people who want your berry explosion magic pill. They want your service. They want your product. 1,000 people. They're all at the front of the mansion wanting to get in, wanting more. How do you handle it? How do you solve it? What do you do? And ladies and gentlemen, that is what we're talking about today. I want you to open your eyes. And I know that you might have woken up in a state of anxiety, or you may have woken up in a state of creativity. Today is about imagine this. Imagine what's going to happen when the doors open, when the all clear siren goes off, and people flood the streets wanting to buy real estate and wanting to buy your products and services. These restaurants are not even ready. We went to Chick-fil-A yesterday. 100 people were at Chick-fil-A yesterday. Even Chick-fil-A, with all their systems, all their strategies, all their structure, was not ready for the 1,000 people who wanted the magic pill of the Santa Fe chicken salad. Here's the thing. Imagine, according to Einstein, imagination is more important than knowledge. And by the way, if you're going to quote somebody, you might as well quote Einstein or Joe LaRosa. I'll quote him later. But Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the world, simulating progress, giving birth to evolution. Knowledge only sees what is. This is my paraphrasing. Imagination sees what's possible. You see, a bad use of imagination In fact, I would say the worst use of imagination is anxiety, which many of you have felt. You know what the best use of imagination is? Creativity. And today is about creativity. Today is about Joe LaRosa and the creative way that he has built one of the fastest growing businesses in the country. And I cannot wait to bring you into his realm, into his world. Imagine this. Now, I have some announcements, of course. I've got to give some shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Liz Freeman. She said, this is our Referrals podcast review that she just did. By the way, we're looking for Referrals podcast reviews. Just go to referralspodcast.com, click on subscribe, and you can do it on Apple iTunes or Google. The answer to all questions, referrals. Great information shared. The daily dose has been wonderful. Let's see. Greer, Liz Greer, nobody cares more about you than Michael Maher. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I like the quote. Michael Maher wants you to succeed in life and business. He does everything in his power to lead you to your better self. I'll come back to that one. Great listen. Karen, thank you so much. Always a wealth of new information and constantly full of reminders to do what I need to grow in business. So those are 3 great things. And then 30 Mornings is starting on May 11th. And I have to tell you, 30 Mornings, I just got this incredible quote on 30 Mornings. I actually have several here, so I'm going to give you 2. So this is from Lisa Swanson. She said, wow, who would have thought 30 days later, here I would be. This was a tough sprint, tough pushing through in the midst of a pandemic and losing my dad. Come on. But I can honestly say that this 30 days truly not only changed my mornings, but changed my life. It hasn't been easy. And you can see some areas took a bit of a step back, but I am giving myself grace, as Shalee Davis and Neil Smith, the certified mornings coaches of 30 Mornings, tell us. I am appreciative of the time doing yoga with my downward dogs and spending a moment watching the hummingbirds outside my window during the quiet time of silence. Thanks, Michael J. Maher, for this opportunity, and all the folks in this group. You rock. 30 Mornings West Coast, no matter what. Lisa, congratulations. I'm also sorry to hear about your father. Thank you so much for dedicating yourself and going through the 3 10-day sprints of 30 Mornings and truly making the choice and decision and taking the actions to change your life. Thank you, Lisa. Now, a couple other announcements. Once again, 30 Mornings. The next class starts on May 11th. No, it is not free. You pay for it. You know why you pay for it? Because we've discovered that if you give a free ticket, you know what they don't do? They don't show up, and they don't grow up, and they don't go up. You know what you want to do? You want to show up to grow up, and you want to grow up to go up. So guess how we get that done? We charge you a little bit, and then you show up, and we do the rest. Now, tonight, it's Cinco de Mayo, baby. We had Renee Rodriguez yesterday. We have Joe LaRosa today. Can you think of 2 better guests leading into May 5th and Cinco de Mayo than these guys? Tonight, I will tell you at 7 p.m. 7. I know you've heard times like 5 p.m., 5:55 p.m. It is at 7 p.m. tonight. We have it. Check the events in the Generosity Generation group, and we will get you signed up. And by the way, it is Taco Tuesday as well. So I will be eating tacos and you should be eating tacos. One quick reminder, it is a BYOB party. There will be alcohol. And just so you know, I will also be drinking. So if you're opposed to that, don't come. It's okay. I still love you. But the bottom line is Cinco de Mayo is tonight, 7 o'clock. Of course it's 7. I wrote 7L. Now, also, vision board class and cocktails. Oh my God, every class we have, it seems like we're adding cocktails. What is up with this? Jen Scarparo, Sherry Mayer, Friday at 6 p.m. Friday at 6 p.m. is the vision board class. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be there as a student. My 11-year-old son will be there as a student. You need to sign up for this vision board class for Friday. It is free. This one is free. So there's no cost. That's a beautiful thing. You got to make it happen. Tomorrow, we have Barry Habib on. Are you kidding me? Like he's the oracle of mortgages. This guy has a crystal ball and he's going to share what it says with us tomorrow. Roger Savvy on Thursday. This guy is the Tony Robbins of South Africa. Are you kidding? This guy's amazing. Friday is Shalee Davis, one of our certified mornings coaches. And I will tell you that we're going to have a lot of fun on that. Now, this is my reminder to all of you to start your watch party, right, Tommy Sandvik? Start your watch party. How do you do it? Oh my gosh, I don't know how to do it. If you don't learn anything else today except how to start a watch party, you win. Go to share right below this video. Yep, right there, share. Click on share, go up, and it says, how do you want to share it? You click on start watch party. It defaults to the generosity generation. Do not share it in here. That doesn't do any good. Share it in your Facebook group, or share it on your page, or share it on your personal profile. Share it, watch it with your friends, and as they comment, you make comments, and hopefully it builds relationships by starting this watch party. Today's lesson, today's session, today's episode is not just for real estate. It's not just for lenders. It's not just for insurance, or it is for everyone. It is for everyone who needs to leverage imagination better. Who needs creativity right now? Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Joe LaRosa. He's an entrepreneur, transformative speaker, best-selling author. Are you kidding me? Anybody recognize the title of that book, baby? How about that? Best-selling author, top real estate broker, and philanthropist with over 2,000 agents and 40 office locations around the globe. Joe LaRosa's company, LaRosa Realty, has been honored by NAR as a top 75 residential real estate firm in the United States for 4 years running. Joe serves on the board of directors for the National Association of Realtors, proudly being a voice for realtors across the country. LaRosa Franchising has taken the company global, with South American offices to open throughout 2020, including Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. Thousands of business owners throughout the nation have sought out Joe's transformative speaking style through his workshop, Do It Now. Joe guides fellow entrepreneurs to change their mindset, to transform their business, and positively impact and reshape their lives. Joe has impacted countless others through his best-selling book, Do It Now, which takes readers on a journey to unlock their passion and grow their businesses. Joe lives by the mantra, live to give. As a philanthropist, Joe sits on the board of Housing for All, which impacts the lives of thousands of families in need each year. Ladies and gentlemen, let us please welcome to the show the one and the only Joe LaRosa. Joe, welcome to the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity, brother.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Well, thank you so much for being on. I'm going to ask you some real quick questions so that we all get to know you a little bit better. And so what's your birthday?
October 29th.
10/29. What's your hometown? Where'd you grow up?
Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida. We are 2 for 2 this week from Miami, Florida. Renee was from Miami last week as well. What high school did you go to?
I went to a school called Dade Christian. It's a small private school in Miami.
Okay. And most people would consider you which of these 4? You can only pick one. Number 1 is straight to the point. Number 2, social and outgoing. Number 3, steady and dependable. Or are you 4, cautious and perfectly accurate?
Ooh, I'll say straight and right to the point.
Straight to the point. And then what would be your number 2? Would it be social and outgoing, steady and dependable, or cautious and perfectly accurate?
I would say steady and accountable.
All right. And then you have a spouse. What's her name?
I do. Adina.
Adina?
LaRosa. Yep.
And what's Adina's birthday? No year necessary.
I don't want to get in trouble. February 1st.
2/1.
2/1.
And what's your guys' anniversary?
It is 9/27.
9/20, September 27th?
Yep.
Okay. And what would you consider her out of those 4 options? Straight to the point, social and outgoing, steady and dependable, or cautious and perfectly accurate?
I would say she's probably number 1 also. Yeah, I would say definitely she's straight, right to the point.
Okay.
And she's definitely more outgoing than I am. So I would say she's probably number 3.
Yeah. Okay. And children?
5.
5 children. What are their names?
So we have Megan, Emily, Allie, Ella, and Joey. So 4 girls and 1 boy.
Very cool. How do you spell Allie? Is it A-L-L-I-E?
A-L-I.
A-L-I, the simple way. Very
Simple
good.
way.
And then you have pets?
Do I have 4 dogs.
4 dogs.
4 dogs.
This quarantine. This quarantine. Are you kidding me? You've got 5 kids and 4 dogs, and you 2 in a house? Oh my God, that's a story in itself. What's your favorite color?
Favorite color, blue.
Yeah, I love it. And what's your favorite TV show, if you have one?
TV show would have been X-Files.
Okay. And how about your favorite book?
Well, I know there's a book, 7 Levels of Communication, was definitely one of my favorites. Yeah. I would say that, and then also, Miracle Mornings. I actually read Hal's version first, and that definitely influenced me earlier on.
Very cool. If you're gonna go to a bar and I was gonna buy you a drink, what would you order?
Well, lately I've trying to become more of a wine connoisseur, so I would probably say I'd ask for a glass of wine. Okay.
Red or white?
Red.
Okay. Merlot or Cabernet or what kind of red?
I would probably say probably go maybe with a cab or maybe even like a blend.
Okay. And then what's your favorite dessert? When you splurge for dessert, you're a well-built guy, so I know you don't do a ton of desserts, but when you do it, what do you do?
Lately, I would probably say making chocolate chip cookies with the kids has proven to be my Achilles heel.
I love that. And then do you have a favorite musical artist or band?
Oh, gosh. I've been kind of like old school rock. I mean, going back like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin.
Nice. What's your favorite actor or actress?
Favorite actor, actress. I would probably say maybe Harrison Ford.
Okay.
As an actor and actress, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I've been big into, Marvel and Avengers, so they'll say Scarlett Johansson.
Well, that's an easy one. I mean, for me, it would be. So that's great. What's your favorite sports team? Who do you root for?
Miami Dolphins.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. So Dolphins, by the way, Dolphins are on the rise. If I was buying stock in an NFL team, I would be buying it in the Titans, the Dolphins, and of course, you gotta buy the Chiefs.
Of course.
So how about baseball? You like any baseball teams?
I'm from Miami, so the Marlins for sure.
Okay, I like it. All right. So what's on your bucket list? Like, what's the next thing you're going to do?
Well, I'll tell you what, travel. My wife and I definitely have started to enjoy the experience of just going out there and exploring new, communities, new cultures, new, countries. So definitely travel. Where
are you going to travel to next?
Well,
where do you want to go?
So this year was going to be we had a year packed of trips. So we were supposed to go to Italy in June. Obviously, that got rescheduled. We're still hoping to get to Greece in September for our anniversary. So keep our fingers crossed there.
Very cool. And then what's your favorite vacation spot you've ever been to? So give us a recommendation. Where should we go to travel?
I tell you what, Florida. I'm a Florida boy, so I love the Keys. We found a place there in Pine Key, Little Palm Island. Absolutely love it. I love it. Those are the hot seat questions. Now we get to the scoop, right? Now we get to this explosive growth equation. This way to. I'll tell you right now, the agents are not ready for this. They're not. I mean, and how could they really? But if we look at things with an abundance set of glasses on. Like, what do we have more now than we've ever had before? And what's interesting, the answer is time. It's time. We have more time. We have more control of our time. And why do we have more control of our time? Because we have less distractions. Like, we don't have people calling us all day and all night. We don't, it's like this
wonderful fantasy world where we have more time than we're not driving. We don't have the commute time. You know, we have more gas in our car than we've ever had before. So we think of this abundance. Well, that's all going to change very quickly. It's going to be where, oh my gosh, now we don't have as much time. And I'm worried that the agents that aren't really ready, and you have been through this, like you have managed explosive growth. So, you know, I'm going to go straight to the point, dude. What was the one thing that helped LaRosa experience explosive growth? The one thing.
Well, I mean, I would tell you there's probably two answers to that, right? So the first one was, you know, I was so focused on in the very beginning, trying to figure out how can I put together this unbelievable business plan, right? How can I develop this plan that would, you know, allow me to be able to achieve the growth that I wanted and everything else. And then I realized, you know what, I got to start here first. I got to start with me. And it was in the early stages where I realized I need to really focus on my own personal self-development, understand kind of, you know, where I'm at, be able to develop awareness, be able to understand how to, you know, shift my mindset, you know, to where it needs to go. And so that obviously played, you know, a huge role. I mean, I mentioned earlier when you asked the question about, you know, my favorite books, Miracle Mornings, you know, definitely that changed my life. I mean, really, when I was able to kind of start my day off on my terms and really be able to kind of just have the ability to have my reset every morning and to be able to, you know, just see my future self and to be able just to have that time, it changed everything. So, you know, I would say that's the first part of the answer. The second part is, you know, it's all about who you surround yourself with. And so I've been blessed, truly blessed to be able to surround myself with an amazing team, you know, folks that have worked with me within, you know, my corporate staff, my team leaders, my managing partners, my now broker owners. Really, I've been blessed, and they have really believed, you know, what my vision was way back when. You know, when it was really just me starting out in a, you know, one office setting to growing to where we are today. They believed in what my vision was, and you know, the whole idea of family, passion, growth. They really kind of just took on to that, and they really, you know, allowed, you know, our company to really become what it is today. So teamwork, you know, for sure, being able to have faith in others, that you can't do it by yourself. You got to do it obviously with a team.
You really hit it on the head, right? Time and talent. Right. Yeah. So it's like you took control of your time. And the thing is the more efficient you are with your time, you're going to max your productivity and max out what you can do with your time. But everybody max out on what they can do with the time and energy they have. So what do we got to do? We've got to partner, and that's the talent. And like you said, it's maxing out my time, but also partnering with these people who A, know how to max out their time, but also B, they have the same values as you do. And you built a company on family, passion, and growth. So I'd like to break those three down, because What I hope my listeners do and viewers that watch this is what I hope they do is I hope they come from the same place. Right? It's like, all right, what are the ritual structure and systems I need to do to maximize my time? And then I need to partner with people. And they probably had all these partners who didn't work out because they didn't share the same values. So let's establish what the values are. So I'd like you to go in depth, like family is a value. And a lot of people honestly say family is a value, but it's BS. You know, it's just like, it's something they say to try to attract people. And then they work 20 hours a day and they never see their family, and they've had 19 divorces, right? I mean, it's like family's not a value, right, for that person. But for you, family is a value, right? So talk about that a little bit.
So, you know, it was funny. So it was years back. I was sitting in my conference room. We were in a meeting getting ready to discuss the plan for in Florida. We had the Florida Realtors Convention every year in August. So we're getting ready to kind of plan for, right, how are we going to exhibit our company this year? What kind of booth are we going to get? Are we going to get multiple booths? What's going to be the style and all that stuff? And so my marketing director at the time asked me, said, well, Joe, you know, give me a few words that you would use to describe your company. You know, what do you want to really kind of stand out there? And for the time, in that time, I really started to dive deep into understanding really what was my purpose and what was my why. And, you know, I took 3 words, you know, to me that are in my purpose, right? Part of my daily affirmations. And I took them out, and it was family, passion, and growth. And I remember when I said it at the time, we were kind of going in the direction of, all right, so are we going to talk about our technology? Are we going to talk about this new training that we're offering? Are we going to talk about, you know, these websites? And I said, no. We have all that, but we're going to talk about our culture and who we are. And it's family, passion, growth. And that's really what I want this company to be known for. So, you know, family to me is everything. You know, I've been blessed. I have, you know, amazing parents that provided both for my brother and I. Grew up in South Florida, came here, you know, was taught the family values. And now I've been blessed as well, obviously, with my wife, Dina, and I, and our 5 kids and 4 dogs. So, you know, family is everything, you know. So, and the company that we have, I can tell you, you know, it really is amazing to see how our agents really, and I hate to use the word buy into it, but they believe it, and they really treat each other. I mean, we're like a family. I mean, I know you had the opportunity. We had you as our keynote back in February, so you got a little taste of it. But we have so many things throughout the year that, you know, we get together, and it's not, you don't feel like it's a company. You don't feel like it's you know, this is my coworker, this is my employee, or this is my employer. No, we're all family, you know? So that's one of the things that I've been most proud about.
Well,
are you enjoying the Daily Dose? Want to connect with thousands of other business owners that are winning the referral game while working from home right now? Head over to the Generosity Generation Facebook group. Connect with leaders, visionaries, and business owners from all over the world. Go to www.joingengen.com. That's www.joingengen.com.
I'm gonna publicly just express my appreciation about a couple of things, actually. Number one is that you did hire me to speak at your national convention. And I have to tell you, I've spoken at a lot of events. I love speaking at events. And that was the most enthusiastic, loud, like energetic, like 8 to 5 event. And listen, many of them did not stop at 5. I'll just like throw that out there. But it was, I mean, every speaker got a standing ovation. Every great announcement was they had bells, they had whistles, they had cymbals, they had horns, they had it, and it was just like, if you don't have energy, you're not going to fit into this family at all, you know. And I first just want to say thank you for that, because I truly enjoyed that experience, and I wanted to make it special. I ended up changing my whole speech 2 hours before I went on, just by observing what was going on. It was just like, oh, I can't do what I was going to do. I got to do this. You know, I had to do the death of a salesman, the birth of a legacy, because it was the legacy conference. And I have to tell you that, you know, your legacy is going to be one of family, passion, and growth. But, you know, what's interesting, if we boil those words down, is, you know, the word love, right? My values are love, generosity, and appreciation. So what's interesting is family. All right, it's a group of people. So we could call it a community. We could call it a tribe. We could call it a group, whatever. But a family implies love, you know? So it's not just your family and them loving their family. You're treating everybody within your organization like they are family. And then passion. So family is love the people you're with. And then passion is love what you do, right? Love what you do. And the growth is love yourself, right? You love yourself enough to grow and learn and always be. So, or you could even say it's a love of learning. But I love, you're going to leave a legacy of love, dude. And it's all based on building a business based on family, passion, and growth. But the other part of it, and doesn't that just come out of your like mouth? Family, passion, and growth. Doesn't that just come out like 3? It makes you want to smile. It kind of revs you up just saying the 3 values. The second thing I want to thank you for is that I'm not sure if anybody has invited as many people to the generosity generation as this guy right here. Now, I didn't ask him to do that. I didn't say anything, but we track everybody who brings people in, and it says, you know, who invited you? And it says LaRosa, Joe LaRosa, LaRosa, Joe LaRosa, LaRosa Realty, right? So it's been amazing. And I just want to say thank you, because we invited a lot of CEOs of a lot of companies to come in and talk. Not all of them said yes, but very few of them embraced the generosity generation to the point you have. So thank you. And I really mean that.
Thank you as well.
So, I mean, it all sounds good, right? Family, passion, growth, we're all good. And then everybody tells you to stay at home, right? The government says, you know, we are in quarantine. So how have you guys pivoted in this time of quarantine?
Well, you know, I'll tell you what. So we've been blessed that we had, prior to all this, really set up our company to really offer, you know, realtors the best of both worlds, right? If they wanted to kind of come into an office setting, be able to talk with folks, be able to meet with folks in an office setting, they had that opportunity. The other opportunity that we provided to realtors was that, hey, they can work virtually, right? They can work remotely from anywhere. And a lot of the training, education, all of our systems, I mean, everything's online. So we were set up to, in essence, continue to operate, you know, under these circumstances. But I gotta tell you, so, you know, a lot of people have used that word pivot. I know I've used it a lot myself as well, but it wasn't as much that I had to pivot the company. I had to kind of pivot myself mentally. And so I remember I was doing, you mentioned my Do It Now program. I was doing my Do It Now, one of my Do It Now classes. I think it was on a Thursday. It was on the 12th or 11th, one of those days of March. And so I'm doing it, you know, I have all my folks there. And the next morning I was supposed to fly out to Hawaii. I was taking my whole entire family. We had planned this. It was one of the trips that I was like looking forward to for such a long time, because my parents, I took my brother and I to Hawaii many years ago, and it's one of the things I wanted to do now with my kids. And so everything's now kind of breaking, right? All the news, right? You know, Disney was announcing they were getting ready to close cruise lines, and we were going on a cruise. Other cruise lines were saying they were going to be shutting down. Ours wasn't as of yet. And so it wasn't until about midnight that day where my wife and I just looked at each other and said, we just can't do this, right? We can't risk it. And so we were going on a cruise when we got to Hawaii. So we canceled it. I had the folks that were going to pick us up at like 4 a.m. to take us to the airport. We canceled it. I woke up the older kids because I didn't want them to wake up and be, you know, discouraged, disappointed. So we told them kind of what was going on. And I remember for a couple of days, I got to be honest, for a couple of days after, I was like in shock. I was almost like trying to like process what was going on. And, you know, like, why now? It's the spring market, right? Real estate for us, this is the best time of the year. You know, LaRosa franchising had all this momentum. We were, you know, getting ready to open up in Colombia within a few weeks. And, you know, it was like, why? And I kind of needed to go through that for a couple of days. And then it just kind of hit me. It was kind of like, all right, you got to practice what you've been preaching, right? You learned from before, and you experienced, you know, what it was like in 07, 08, 09. You built your company in one of the worst times, you know, that our country ever had to experience economically. And so I just kind of snapped out of it. I had to kind of, you know, just be a leader. And so my wife and I decided that we were going to, start this whole program online, be able to kind of help folks kind of get through this time. And we developed a group on Facebook called the Drive Society, because we wanted to be able to take all of the opportunities that we've had in the past to be able to learn from so many, you know, amazing leaders like yourself and others that are out there. And we want to be able to take what we've learned and how it's helped us and now kind of push it back out there. And this is what our focus needs to be. So I, in essence, had to pivot first mentally and kind of figure out, all right, so my company is set. We know we can continue to operate. We know we continue to be able to provide value to our agents, but now we need to kind of step it up. And now we need to be able to help the entire community and let folks know, regardless whether you don't have to be in real estate, you can be in any business, to let them know, hey, we're going to get through this. This is, in fact, we developed a series called Plan Over Panic, right? So not the cringe up, not the panic.
Yeah.
You got to plan. You have to know that, listen, this will pass. And what we don't want to do in a time like this, because I experienced this before, is that you don't want to sit back and say, why is this happening? And then when we do have the ability to kind of bounce back up, like you said earlier, when things start to open back up, you don't want to be behind the curve now. You don't want to be behind everyone else. You want to be ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about being positioned now for the future. And so we want to be able to help folks really plan in this time, really be able to kind of, adapt, tweak their business. And, like you said earlier, we have plenty of time. I've had more meetings now than I've had before the pandemic, because now it's just simply click on the next, Zoom meeting and here I am, rather than having to get in my car, traveling and so on. So It's really about being able to now really plan now for the future, adapt, tweak your business, and to be able to thrive once we're back in the swing of things.
I love it. And it's one of those where I love the plan over panic. It's just like, what's the plan? It's a little, it kind of reminds me of boxing. It's like, especially in the real estate world, maybe it's all of the business world. It was like a knockout punch. It really was like a knockout punch, and we were all thrown to the canvas. Now, There's many ways to react to that, right? One is to stay on the canvas and fetal position until like everybody leaves the building, and then maybe you get up and walk away, right? Or, you can stay down for, in the 2 days is more like 2 minutes, and then you get back up to fight another day and you keep going. Some people got knocked out, laid there, and now they're quitting boxing, and it's like, why are you quitting boxing? You got knocked out, So it's like, what some people are, honestly, some people are just coming to the realization that they're in quarantine. I mean, seriously, it's like they're in shock, and then they were in denial, and then they were in anger, and then, they're just now coming to resolution. So how should they react? How should they act? What should they do for the people that are, just kind of coming to in this new era of quarantine?
Well, we've heard the term so often that in a time like this, you have to really sharpen your axe, right? So I think there's still time. I look at here, in Florida, for an example, for the majority of the state, other than in South Florida, we're kind of now going into phase one, but phase one is still limited, right? So there's still, we're not fully back open. Real estate has continued to happen. I've actually been pleasantly surprised, really surprised, in fact, to see that there was still a lot of movement happening within the market. But there's still time. There's still plenty of time. It's all about, and there's different interpretations. There's different assumptions of how quickly are we going to recover as an economy? How quickly are things going to come back? There's still time. There's still time to sharpen that axe. There's still time to be able to be prepared. And then to really look at others that have, I've always been a big, believer. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Look at others who have had success and try to model that behavior. Try to model their actions and see, maybe, have your own little, twist to it and see what you can do. So there's been a lot of, great realtors, and we've been doing the same thing. We've been bringing on, a lot of folks that we've been trying to interview to get their perspective. Again, not just realtors, business owners.
Yeah.
What have you been doing? What do you plan to do now, over the next 60, 90 days, 120 days? So I still think there's plenty of time. I think there's time that we can still sharpen our axe and, be ready to close out the year. I've used this term. My wife looked at me when I used it one time on a Facebook Live, because you got to be careful with Facebook Live, because you say it on the, in the moment, you can not share it, I guess. But
yeah.
I made a comment one day, and she's like, well, you're not an economist. You can't say this. I'm like, well, I'm just being opinionated. I feel like that when we do bounce back, I feel like we're going to experience kind of like the roaring 20s all over again.
Yeah.
This is a difficult time. This is a challenging time. Absolutely. It's horrible what's happening. But we can't be focused in on today. We have to start thinking about tomorrow, so that we can help others. We can be able to serve our community, be able to grow our business, and so on. So I still think that there's plenty of time.
Yeah, I really believe that, just like you do, that we really need to be ready. We need to be ready. And, I was telling Tim Brahim last week, I was like, man, I think the quarantine is going to end too soon. I still have these projects I want to get done. And everybody's like, what? It's ending too soon. But, that's what's going to happen. Like, people are going to just get used to this normal.
Right.
And then it's going to go boom to a new normal. And they might think, well, it's going to go back to the way it was. It will never go back to the way it was. You want it to go back to the way it was. So I guarantee it won't go back to where it was. It's going to be different. You need to adapt, right? Like Einstein says, imagination is the birth of evolution. And we need to use our imagination. Joe, if you were to look at we have top producers and we have average producers within any environment. What would you say are the one or two key differences between the super producers and like just the producers or the average producers?
Mindset. I mean, I can tell you, so like I said before, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't, going into this, there's a lot of obviously assumptions that, right, is the market going to pretty much take a timeout, and what's going to happen. But we actually closed out the month of April was actually better. It wasn't as good as March. We got a good pipeline for March, but it was better than November, December, January, and February. And going into this, I would have thought that we would have been below those numbers. Now, when I went and I dug a little deeper, it was I would say the upper half of our company, the folks that were really out there, producing, that they just, their mindset was just say, hey, I got to continue to have to go out there and, make it happen. There's still folks out there that still have needs, and I have to be able to help them with their needs.
I think that's one of the things. It's like the boxing analogy is the ones get tapped and get knocked out and quit boxing, whereas the top producers like Tyson hits them with a knockout punch and they're working out the next day in the gym.
Right.
It's this bounce back ability and the mindset of commitment that, hey, you know what? Here's the thing. Once somebody's in real estate, there's no going back. Like, once real estate is in your blood, the freedom that we get, the income there is no limit in real estate. You can be your team can be 1, your team can be 2,000, 120,000, your income can be, 20,000 or 20 million, so it's one of those where once real estate's in your blood, baby, there's no turning back. So these people that are thinking, well, maybe I'll get out of real estate. Yeah, no, what you need to do is commit 100% to being the best realtor possible, commit to your schedule, and just commit. Because when you're working at whatever it is, 9 to 5, being an employee, you're going to be thinking about what could have been possible in real estate. So quit thinking about it and just make it possible. Make your dreams a reality. So what's next, Joe LaRosa? Like, put your crystal ball in front of you, right? So what's next for you? What's next for the country? What's next for real estate? What's next for business?
Well, listen. So I absolutely expect that we're going to have this amazing recovery. Can't pinpoint, is it going to happen June 1st? Is it going to happen July 1st or August 1st? But we know that we're going to bounce back, right? There's still a need for real estate. I went in and I did a bunch of research, taking a look at a lot of folks want to compare what happened in 2008 to what's happening now, and I've tried to remind folks that, listen, that was a market cycle that we went through. This is an event cycle, right? This is where we were kind of forced to literally shut things down. And you look at even the equity in the market today is far much more greater than what it was back in 2008. I mean, we had so much equity that was stripped where folks were automatically left with no choice but to walk away. That's not what's happening now. So we're going to see a recovery. We as a company, we want to, continue to actually adapt a lot of what we have, tweaked throughout this process. Our online education has literally, the attendance has shot through the roof. We want to now challenge ourselves to continue to be able to get that engagement from amongst our realtors, continue to offer as much education and as training. We really have almost tripled the amount of education we've been offering. So we want to continue that. And then from the franchising side of it, I was supposed to go out to, right when I was supposed to get back from my spring break vacation, I was supposed to go to Colombia for our grand opening of our office in Bogota. So hopefully I'll be able to finish out the year attending all these different grand openings. I'm supposed to go to Puerto Rico as well. We have an office there in San Juan that I'm excited to get to. And then just continue on. We've actually partnered up with another brand called Better Homes Realty. Not to be confused with Better Homes and Garden, separate company. Better Homes Realty, they've been around since the 60s, primarily out west. So we actually have now started to actually franchise for them as well. So LaRosa Franchising is actually franchising two different companies, LaRosa Realty and Better Homes Realty. So
I'm really familiar with Better Homes. I've spoken for Better Homes. We have a guy from Better Homes, or a speaker for Better Homes, Roger Savvy, who's talking on Thursday. And he actually speaks in many different Better Homes Realty offices regularly. And you're talking about on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Scoville is the owner and CEO of Better Homes. So him and I have kind of come together, and now LaRosa Franchising is actually going to be managing new Better Home Realty offices, and as well as developing them across the country. I
love it. I love it. I will tell you what, they're impressive. They have some impressive offices and impressive agents. So that's a great partnership. I love that. And so I will tell you, man, this has been fantastic. I feel like we could talk for hours, and I appreciate you. I mean, your slogan for life is live to give, brother. And you gave massive value here today, and I just want to express my appreciation from all of the listeners and viewers for your being our guest today on the Daily Dose.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me.
Always. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been our episode of the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity. If you're just now joining us, you might want to start a watch party on your personal page or in your Facebook group. This has been Joe LaRosa talking about how to create explosive growth. We've talked about imagination today. Are you a part of the Imagination Nation? You need to be a part of the Imagination Nation. And I will tell you what, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And here's the thing. A lot of you are going to a lot of trainings. There are more online trainings available now than in the history of mankind. But the thing is what are you doing with it? Are you just learning, or are you also implementing? The implementation is going to lead to you using your imagination. Don't just take it in and you just sit there and it's infotainment or entertainment. My biggest thing that I want to implore everybody is to implement. Take action, do it. Even if you're not sure about it, you know what? Those are a lot of times the best learning and growth opportunities you can have. But what's going to happen is once you start implementing, your imagination kicks in, and you are going to put your own unique spin to that script, to that action, to that call, to that speech, to that presentation, to that consultation, to that appointment, to that whatever it may be, to that negotiation. You're going to put your spin on it, and that's where imagination is going to take you to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of imagination, I imagine that I have a Cinco de Mayo celebration today at 7 p.m. I am going to be on. It's going to be a jam session, just ask Michael session. So we're going to jam a little bit. We're going to have some tacos. We're going to have some alcohol, and we're going to celebrate tonight at 7 p.m. I hope you can make it. Joe, you are definitely invited. I'd love for you to come over if you can. Details are in the event section of the Generosity Generation group. It might say 5 p.m. or 5:55 p.m. I just want everybody to know it is at 7 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we have Mr. Barry Habib, the Oracle of Mortgage, baby, the guy who is going to bring out his crystal ball, tell us what mortgage rates are going to do, what the real estate industry is going to do. And honestly, doesn't that affect all of us? Joe LaRosa, one more time, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of the Daily Dose.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you tomorrow on the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity. Bring positivity to your community and be more productive today. You will thank me and yourself tomorrow. Have a great one, everybody.